Well, hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess, and we're going to talk about my diabetic diet that I'm working out because I am a diabetic that cannot take prescription diabetic medications. How am I managing my diabetes? Well, one way is through food, and one of my favorite breakfasts is chia breakfast pudding. This one is made with raw oatmeal, and it's got a banana in it and a few other items. I'm going to show you that recipe in a moment. Then at the end of the video will be the next day, and I'll show you what I top it with to have a nice little breakfast in the morning or a snack. And this is usually my breakfast. I like fruit with my breakfast, so this is a good option for me. So the recipe that I have worked out, this is my recipe. You can go online and find a lot of chia pudding recipes out there. This is a refrigerator recipe. Is 4 tablespoons of oats, and I prefer the whole oats like that. Chia seed. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of chia seed, and I store mine in a glass jar with some oxygen absorbers and the little scoop that came with them, although I'm going to use a tablespoon with this instead of the little scoop. Next will be 1 banana mashed. Now, I prefer a really ripe banana with this, but this one is starting to turn, but you can even use bananas that have turned brown with this recipe. It makes it sweeter, and you're getting all the good benefits of your bananas. Unsweetened coconut flakes. You can use toasted coconut, or you can use the raw coconut. And so I've got that ready. Monkfruit sweetener. It's 2 teaspoons of monkfruit sweetener. And I buy it in the little packages because it's already pre-measured. And so I know that I've got 2 teaspoons in that. Greek yogurt, or you can use sour cream. And I've even used cottage cheese on occasion when I didn't have sour cream or the Greek yogurt on hand. So just going to use 1 tablespoon of that. And I like this one. It's an all-natural sour cream product. It's made by Prairie Farms. It's farmer owned, so that's a great option there. And then I'm going to use, for my last ingredient, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Cinnamon is really good for diabetics. Keelan cinnamon is the best option. This is just regular ground cinnamon. And then I'm going to top it off with the milk of my choice. So I'm going to read through the recipe real quick. It's 4 tablespoons of oats, 1 tablespoon of chia seed, 1 banana mashed, 1 teaspoon unsweetened coconut flake, 2 teaspoons of monkfruit sweetener, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of Greek yogurt or sour cream, and milk of your choice. I have out 5 half-pint jars. Each recipe that I use will fill one of these jars up. My banana will be divided in 5. I will mash it, and you're going to let this sit overnight, and we're going to tell you more about why this works for diabetics without spiking your blood sugar. I like to go ahead and get my cinnamon into my jars, and it is 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon per jar. So I just flatten it off on the edge of the jar and put it in my jars. The reason I do this is because cinnamon has a habit of creating a smoke in your face kind of effect, and you don't want to be breathing this in too much when you're stirring, so it's at the very bottom, and all those liquids have had time to get to it. So that's the reason I put it in the bottom. So we've got that in our jar. And then I'm going to mash up my banana. We're going to peel our banana. There's 2 rules of thought. Most people will open it at this end, but you can also open your banana at the other end, and it's so much easier to open. And of course, the banana skin goes in your garden beds or in your compost pile because that turns to nitrogen. So I'm going to go ahead and break this banana up just to get it started. And then we're going to take a fork and we're going to mash it. So organic bananas are the best if you can find them. And of course, the day that I went into the store, they didn't have any organic bananas. So you want to mash this up really, really well. And this one is still a little bit on the green side, or not as quite ripe. The riper bananas will mash up actually a lot quicker. Y'all remember the old banana and peanut butter sandwiches? Oh my gosh. You could probably add a tablespoon of peanut butter to this if you want it to bump your flavor up. Of course, it's going to change your carb numbers and your proteins and all that. So we're going to get that mashed up really, really well. Okay, it is mashed. There it is, folks. I'm going to get rid of that fork. I went ahead and pulled out a tablespoon. This is kind of a guesstimate. It's about a little over a tablespoon per jar, depending on the size of your banana. It might be a tablespoon. It might be a little bit more. It's just going to add a little bit of flavor and potassium and all those good things that bananas carry into your pudding. Bananas is something that spikes a lot of diabetics, so this is a way to get some of that potassium in you in a natural form without spiking your blood sugar. So I'm just dividing up what is remaining in here between my jars. So it's going to be a little over a tablespoon for me today. Get rid of that. I'm going to move my jars forward so y'all can see what I'm doing. The next ingredient I'm going to add are my oats. I add 4 tablespoons of oats per jar. And I do it this way because I don't have to pull out measuring cups and all that. And if you feel like your pudding is not thick enough, you can certainly add another tablespoon of your oats or up the chia in your jars just a little bit. The chia seed is actually the better suggestion. And this will make 5 days worth of chia pudding. And I would use it up within the 5 days. Okay, we've got that in there. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon of my unsweetened coconut flakes. I didn't pull out a teaspoon, so I'm going to guesstimate. So it should be about 1/3 of my tablespoon per jar. And this is going to add just a little bit of that coconut flavor. You can omit this if you want to. If you don't like coconut, you're opposed to it, you can always omit this. You can add flaxseed or some other seed in its place. If you add flaxseed, I would crush them. My next dry ingredient is going to be the chia seed. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of chia seed in each jar. Again, you want it in there for thickening and for all the good benefits that you get from chia seed. There is a lot of benefits in chia seed, health benefits. It's considered one of the superfoods. And really simple to put together. I'm going to go ahead and add in my monk fruit sweetener to each jar. Remember that if you're using monk fruit sweetener, do not feed it to your pets or let your pets get a hold of that sugar. It's poisonous to them. And from what I understand, monk fruit is made from a gourd. And it is a natural organic sugar that actually tastes like sugar. I'm going to now add in 1 tablespoon of either Greek yogurt or sour cream. And I've got sour cream that I need to use up, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this plastic off here. Give this a good stir. And I may have to pull out my other one here in a moment. I'm going to use that spoon there to help me get it in to my jars. This is adding in your probiotics and some dairy. You can even use, if you're using Greek yogurt, you can use your fruit flavored yogurts. You could add berries in place of the banana of your choice. There's a number of ways that you can do this. And I may just have enough for all 5 of my jars, we'll see. Because I'm getting to the end of this container. And I did. I managed to scrape enough out of there to get all of that in here. And that is good for me. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to bring my tablespoon up here in a moment. I'm going to move these forward and get these packages out of the way. I'm a clean as you go kind of girl. I made up some powdered milk this morning. You can use any kind of milk that you want. Just make sure that it's milk that you can use. So this is a non-fat milk that I'm using today. And I'm going to go ahead and start pouring this into my jars. And it's going to start shrinking in the jar. You'll see what I mean here in a moment. I will have to top this off maybe a couple of times. Because those oats and chia seed are going to start absorbing that. I'm going to pull out my spoon that I had out a while ago. I'm going to give this a good stir. Get my fingers in it. Making sure I'm breaking up that banana as I mix. Okay, you can see that some of the jars are still kind of full. Some of them have really sucked up that milk. We're going to go ahead and top this off to about a 1/4 inch from the top of the jars. So I've used almost, I'd say about 3 cups of milk in my 5 jars. It will vary depending on how much moisture's in the air, etc., etc. Now I'm going to place my lids on here. Get them on there tight. And I'm going to give them a good shake. Make sure I get all that cinnamon and everything mixed in there. That's what it should look like, folks, in your jar. And you can use the 1-piece or the 2-piece lids for this. Peanut butter jar lids work great for this as well. You see all the cinnamon in the bottom? You want to get that incorporated. And you can leave the cinnamon out, but if you're a diabetic, you need that cinnamon. Here comes the peanut butter jar lid. See all the cinnamon in the bottom? Give it a good shake. See all the cinnamon in there? And that jar is being a little difficult, so we're going to open it up and we're going to take our spoon and get that cinnamon mixed in at the bottom. There we go. See, it's gone now. Give it a good shake. Last jar. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jars. The ingredients I'm putting behind. My cinnamon lid don't want to stay down for some reason. And that's it, folks. These will go in my refrigerator for anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. It should be thick. Right now you can see it's pretty lucid and flowing, but when it is ready, it will be thick and ready for us to use. Oats become a resistant starch or carb when refrigerated overnight. Best oats are the steel cut oats or the rolled oats or the whole oats, either one of those. I want to let you know a few facts. Not all carbs are readily digested and absorbed into the body. This makes them better carbs because of health benefits. So when these become resistant starch, they're not cooked, they're raw, and they're refrigerated, they become resistant starches, and that lowers your net carb on your oats. Resistant starches and carbs have the potential health benefits related to gut health and blood sugar control. Resistant starch resists digestion in the small intestines and is fermented by the bacteria in the large intestine, meaning it does not raise your blood sugar as quickly as a regular starch or carb. They will not hit your daily carb count. Resistant starch is about 1/2 the calories of regular starch. A 1/4 cup of unrolled oats is 4.4 grams of resistant starch, so it's a really good deal. 1 jar will contain 164 calories, 28 carbs, 3 grams of fiber. Of course, that resistant starch lowers that carb number, and it will be actually 25 net carbs in this jar. So to figure this out, you would subtract your fiber from your number of carbs, so I had 28 carbs and 3 grams of fiber, which gave me my net of 25 net carbs. So there are a few ways that you could serve this in the morning. You could actually pour this out into a bowl, or you could leave it in the jar. Either way, you could add you some fresh or frozen berries of your choice. Strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, like that are very good for you. Grapes are really good for a diabetic, so you could add some grapes to this if you want grapes. And one of my favorite things is my homemade granola. Now I'm going to do a recipe on this, show you how I make this. And again, it's really delicious, and you're not using a whole lot of this, so it's not going to spike your sugar. Well, hey, y'all, and it's the next day. How about that? By the magic of YouTube. This is our pudding. Y'all remember how fluid it was? That has turned into a really nice pudding. So we're going to get this put together. This is going to be my breakfast. So I could add some fresh berries to this, or grapes, or whatever. It's got a nice pudding consistency. I'll show you in just a moment. I know you can't see inside the bowl, but I'm going to go ahead. I got a few chocolate chips left here. About a tablespoon is all I need. Don't need a lot. Low carb chocolate chips. Homemade granola. This has some nuts in it. It has some raisins, banana, just a lot of good things. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of that on top because I'm kind of hungry this morning. I will be putting this recipe out very quickly for y'all. Maybe next week we'll get that out. We're going to take a look inside the bowl, and then we're going to have some yummy breakfast. All right, that's our bowl. It does still have a little bit of liquid on it, but it is a pudding consistency, y'all. And I'm going to take a bite, and we're going to tell you what it tastes like. So here is our breakfast, our chia pudding. I always pray over my food. And here we go. The right amount of cinnamon. It's not overpowering. It's not too sweet. It's got that little bit of hint of banana in there. The chocolate chips just adds a little bit of chocolate flavor to that, and chocolate is good for your heart. And then that good granola adds a little bit of crunch. It's the perfect breakfast for a low-carb diet, diabetic-friendly, and I hope that you'll try this recipe out. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. Thank you, my friends, for watching, and may you be fully blessed.